it's kind of happenstance that we're recording this just a few days after Happy Gilmore 2 came out. Like when I first reached out to you, I didn't originally expect for this to be the date that we were going to be recording, but here we are. So I feel like we have to start there. So were you eager to reprise your role on Happy Gilmore alongside Jack Beard?
Yeah, I was. I was lucky enough to be in the original back in 1996. There's an interesting story back then. My agent was the late Bob Rosen, and Bob represented all of us who did golf at CBS. And that's how he became my agent. I was told, you need to go with Bob Rosen. So he called me, and we actually did the movie in the summer of 95, and it was released in 96. And he said, they've got this part for a sports guy, announcer, and I want you to fly to Vancouver and film the role. So I did, and when they sent me the script, they had hand-delivered the script in my hotel room. I looked at the script, and in the top right-hand corner, they tried to erase the name, but it said Pat Summerall. And Summerall had turned the role down. And I often wondered, because the film, it didn't go anywhere in theaters, but then it was released on VHS. If you're old, you might not be old enough to remember VHS.
I am.
But and then USA Cable picked it up, and that's when the movie took off. So it became a favorite, and Adam Sandler became enormously popular. And one of the interesting sidelight about that is Dennis Dugan, who played the commissioner in the sequel that was just released, was actually the director of Happy Gilmore 1. And the morning that we shot, we met at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we shot it all at Whistler in north of Vancouver. And Dennis looked at this good-looking guy standing inside. He was Adam Sandler's suite mate at New York University Film School. And his name is Jack Jaraputo, Jack Beard in the movie. And he said, Jack, let's do an inside gag. I want you to go over to makeup and wardrobe, get a blue suit, and sit next to Verne, but you cannot say a word because you're not a member of the Screen Actors Guild. And so Jack is the one just standing, handsomely nodding his head, and he's the one to whom I said, who the hell is Happy Gilmore? Well, now he's executive producer of all of Sandler's films, and he's the one, he sat with me and Post Malone in that wild setup, which was a Send Up or Live Golf.
Yeah, I was that's funny. I was going to ask if Jack Beard is as chatty off camera as he is on camera. Did you ever thank Pat Summerall for passing on the role? Did you ever discuss it with him?
Yes, I did. And he had no idea that the movie would take off.
Sure.
And the one thing I loved about it is that I got Pat Summerall money. And so, hey, life is good. Yeah.
All those years at CBS calling golf, 40 years at the Masters. Do people ever recognize you solely for Happy Gilmore?
Yep. Yeah. Two things. I was in Dallas at the ABC affiliate for 17 years. And I did a game show. It's a long story, called Bowling for Dollars. And it was a franchise show, and it appeared in different markets around the country. In Boston, it was called Candle Pins for Cash. And but in Dallas, I used to get this, hey, ain't you the guy on Bowling for Dollars? I used to get that all the time. And then mercifully, Happy Gilmore came out. But by then, I'd moved on because that was in '96.
Yeah.
And I had left Dallas. And but you know what's going to happen now, because I understand that this is already the #1 movie released on Netflix, and the reaction I've heard from half the Western world about having watched this thing. And my wife and I, we watched it Friday night in this large group, And then last night, because there was so much commotion, Nancy and I sat down here in our living room and watched it again. And I got to tell you, I laughed. And when I'm dating myself here, I just turned 85, and they told me I was going to work with this former rap star who is now a country western singer, and my reaction was, "Who the hell is Post Malone?" I didn't know. He was one of the nicest, kindest guys. He's only 29. He lives with his daughter in Grapevine, Texas. He's got more tattoos than I've ever seen on a human being in my life, but he was so kind and so nice. And we were laughing. We're very blessed. We've got a lady who's lived with us for 30 years here in Steamboat. Because of the lifestyle, we had to have a caretaker, and she's a divorced gal. She just walked out just a minute ago, and Josie said, "You don't know who Post Malone is?" I said, "No," and he kept trying. He's so nice, but he kept trying to sneak an F word in, and Sandler said, "Post." His real name is Austin.
Yeah,
and she said, Adam said, "We're going for a PG rating here. That ain't okay." But this, like I said, I have heard from so many people around the country, and just calling. I just saw you in Happy Gilmore too. So
I think the "Who the hell is Happy Gilmore?" like that's probably the most famous line from the first movie.
Yeah.
With Happy Gilmore 2, I think it's going to be you saying "gangster shit" indeed with that perfect stare into the camera after.
There's a member of the House of Representatives from Austin, Texas, named Chip Roy, and he's a friend, and we have a condo in downtown Austin. We spend about 3-4 months of the year down there. And Chip sent me a text last night. He said, "Gangster shit." And I'd forgotten about the line until we watched it last night, and I laughed. I mean, it is a pretty funny line.
Yeah.
Sandler, by the way, is one of the kindest, nicest people I've ever been around.
Yeah.
There's no essence of a superstar at all. At all.
Very cool. Yeah. No, I thought the movie was fun. Like as somebody that watched Happy Gilmore so many times as a kid, I thought the sequel is what you would expect and what you kind of hope for from an Adam Sandler comedy. Like it's not supposed to be an Oscar nominee. I think the the comedy hits, and it was really a good second film.